what we need to understand is every moment has meaning. Because you see that Pharaoh wanted to enforce hard labor and slavery. Maybe we'll thin them out. Listen, that didn't happen because it worked the opposite. The harder Pharaoh worked them, the more they multiplied. Because you see, Pharaoh's plan was to get rid of Israel. God's plan was for them to be fruitful and multiply. And you will never win when you fight God. You will never win when you try to fight God's purpose or God's plan. You will always lose. And that's what Pharaoh's finding out, right? Now, folks, here's what I want you to understand as we look at this. Do you know that the people of Israel, who knew God's promises, who knew that God promised to bless them, God promised that they would be His people, you know that the people of Israel questioned what in the world was going on. Everything was great until this new Pharaoh. Circumstances can change. Don't ever trust your circumstances. Don't ever trust your bank account. Don't ever trust your job. Don't ever that's circumstance. Circumstances change in a moment, right? You trust God. Everything was perfect, and in a moment's time, a new king came to town, and everything changed. The Israelites now, not the toast of the nation, the Israelites are hated. They're slaves. God, what are you doing? God, I don't understand it. God, this doesn't make sense. God, this is not how it's supposed to be. Where are you, God? Why are you not redeeming your people? Where are you? Why are you not acting on behalf of your people? What's going on? These people, remember, were slaves for 400 years. There were many Israelites that had been born and died in the midst of slavery, never seen God redeem them. So they're thinking, yeah, I mean, we don't understand it. Where's God? You know what? That's life, isn't it? You have many times, man, when everything's great. I mean, man, when you get a promotion, when you get a raise, man, when you literally, your kids are cleaning their room, doing everything you say, that's a dream world. That's never going to happen. But when your kids are not acting like, fools running around everywhere, when marriage is good, things are great, it's like, yes, God, that's what life's. But what about, man, when you don't get a raise, you get fired. You lose your job. Your kids are rebellion. Your marriage is struggling. Man, what about when things are... Here's what you need to understand from the Israelites. God, this is God's story. We are a part of a larger story. Every moment matters. The raise matters. When you lose your job, that matters too. It's not arbitrary. Don't think it's meaningless. Man, if I thought life was meaningless, then and someone died, and I couldn't understand it, I'm like, what's this about? Even though I might not understand it, I know it's a part of a larger story. Every moment matters. God, it's for... What's happening in your life is for your good and God's glory in some way, and I don't know, and you don't know all the answers, but we can trust God. That's what we can learn because He is in control. When we look through history, God was in charge. Think about Jonah. God's purpose for Jonah to go to Nineveh. Jonah fought against him. I ain't going to Nineveh. I hate those people. Well, God was in charge of the storm. Remember? All those people like, what is this? They began to throw everything overboard, finally throw Jonah overboard. God was in charge of the storm that got Jonah where He wanted him to be. God was in charge of the persecution of the church in the first century. After Christ ascended from the dead, after He, jetted back to heaven to be with the Father, the Holy Spirit came, the church started to expand. Boom, what happened? Roman oppression, Roman persecutions came, started killing Christians. The Christians, like, God, we don't understand it. We're living for You. We're following You. We're planting churches. We're sharing the gospel. We're being killed. We don't understand it. What happened? They had to run out of town. They dispersed, called the diaspora. They ran out of town. They ran to save their life, but they took the gospel with them. Churches began to be planted all over the world. Gospel was shared all over the world. Listen, God was in charge of that moment for their good, for His glory. God was in charge of the oppression of the Egyptian people. God's in charge of whatever is in your life. Good, bad, understandable, not understandable, something you want to be in, something you don't want to be in. Every moment matters. God's in charge of every moment of your life for His good, for your glory and His good.